What we are doing here today is celebrating International Podcast Day, which is so very huge. And when the opportunity came, I can talk about podcasting all day long, and you all also, because you all are podcasters and as well as podcast guests. And many of you all have been a part of my podcast, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. So let me make sure that I introduce everybody first and foremost, because this time will go by fast. And I mean, we are from all over the globe, all over the United States here. And we're just going to have a conversation about the power of podcasting. It really does make an impact on the world. This indeed is a global, remarkable, powerful tool. So we're going to talk about the power and the impact of podcasting. And it's not just you as a podcaster. If you decide that you want to be a guest on podcasts, that also is a powerful, awesome tool. I can't even tell you what it will do for you for your marketing platforms. So we'll talk about that. And then we're going to take a look at what podcasting and COVID, how that has come together. And I'd like to hear from you ladies to find out what changes, what happened with COVID. What was your reaction with podcasting? And we'll take it from there. So in no particular order, let me introduce Aleasia Lisa Hurt from Flex Your Voice Marketing. Suzette R. Vearnon, and you know what? I don't see you ladies, so go ahead and be sure to wave and let everybody know who you are. Suzette R. Vearnon, who is a sister podcaster also. She is a CEO of Your Relationship Strategist Solutionist with a music math approach. Welcome, Suzette. I have Pamela Stone, who is another podcaster, and she's a coach, author, speaker. Want to welcome her. Deborah Thorne, we know her as the Information Diva. She's giving away brownies, and we will talk about that in a little bit. Wow. Linda Waterhouse, we all had better find ourselves over on LinkedIn. Linda is a LinkedIn trainer, and when I tell you she knows her stuff, the lady knows her stuff. And not the last one on the list at all, Yvonne DiVita. She helps smart women write books. And don't we all need a book out there? That's another thing. Time allows, I want us to have that conversation about how we all can have a book out there, and it will catapult you to the top when you link that together with a podcast. So, ladies, in no particular order, I think I want to start with the podcasters among us first. Let's talk about the power of podcasting. How did you, real quick, how did you all decide to become a podcaster, and what power have you obtained from being a podcaster?
Okay, well, I'll go first since I'm on this side of you, Margot.
Okay.
Hi, everybody who's listening, and I appreciate you inviting me, Margot, to be a part of this wonderful panel of fantastic ladies and podcasters. The power of podcasting. I actually stumbled into it, I guess you could say, or was in a flow, and I kind of flowed into it. I think that'd be better. Because I was at a point in my life where I had suffered an unexpected loss of a contract that I had held with a client for about 8 years. And unexpectedly, they decided to discontinue working with me. I had a bookkeeping business, and I was completely blindsided. I was hurt. I was upset. I was drained because I had held that company up for so long and had sacrificed so much for that client. And so I was exhausted on the other end, and I started listening to a podcast. Shout out to Redefining Wealth podcast, Patrice Washington. But I started listening to that podcast, and as I listened, I heard this voice say, "You can do that too." And I wasn't even thinking about doing it myself. But I think when you have a purpose inside and a message to share, it finds a way it finds a way. And that was the way that it selected, because my whole mission was to help people to find out that they're enough. And that was something that I was having to deal with in my own private life. And so podcasting gave me a way of speaking my truth on my terms. And I needed it after that. I needed to do something on my terms, not for somebody else, but something on my terms. And so that was the power. And then it just took off from there and put me, look at where I am now with you wonderful ladies talking to an international audience. So, that's the power of it, that you start with your message and then the universe gives you a platform where you can share with other people, something they need to hear.
I'm glad that you said that. I really, really am. And I don't want to break in, but that is powerful. You start where you are and you just go from there, because if you don't get started, if you hadn't followed your loss, then the world would have been denied of your voice. So Thank you for sharing that. That's an important nugget right there. Yvonne DiVita, you not only make sure that we get our books out there also, but you are a podcaster, and I had the awesome opportunity to be on your podcast. So welcome. What brought you into the podcasting world, and how powerful, what power did you extract from being a podcaster?
Oh, Margot, thank you so much. And meeting these fantastic ladies, you know that I'm on a mission to meet fantastic ladies everywhere, because we are the power of the world. Yes. And that's what podcasting does. Suzette, the voice and the opportunity to share and be yourself is part of what podcasting is about. I have to tell all of you that I go way back. So back in 2004, 2005, podcasting was this tiny little thing that people were experimenting with, and it didn't go anywhere. Ladies, it went nowhere. There were several business professionals who were exploring how to use it, but it wasn't popular at all until about a year, 2 years ago. And suddenly, boom, it came back. And you know why? It came back, Margot? It came back because people were ready not just to share their story and use their voice, but to hear other people's stories. Because we as human beings are story focused. Our lives revolve around the stories of who we are and where we came from. And I tell people all the time, please write down the stories your mother and grandmother tells you, because they're going to be lost if you don't do that. So I want to say something else, Margot. I got into the whole video podcasting because I not only wanted to share people's voices, I wanted to share who they were, and let people see them. And of course, in my video podcast, there's also audio. So for people who only want to listen, because that's the other beautiful thing about podcasting. You turn the podcast on and you can do other things while you're listening.
Yes.
You
indeed.
can hear a podcast on a walk or in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really powerful, but I wanted the visual also to be there, because ladies, look at how beautiful all of you are. We are beautiful. We need to share that with the world. The world needs to see that we all have a voice, a story, a message, but we're also open to hearing everybody else's. And to me, that's what it's about.
I totally agree. Storytelling is so very important. That's what makes us memorable also. I remember when I was getting my podcast together, my strategist mentor, Brother Bedford, always said, tell your story, no matter what. Your story is a part of your journey. It's a part of you as a podcaster. So two good nuggets here.
Just throw one thing out before you move on. Everyone who's here who is a podcaster or even a guest, after a time, golly gee, I'm here to tell you, take those darn podcasts and make them into a book.
Yes, yes. I have to totally agree. And you have the information right there. I mean, every episode has the possibility to be a book. So thank you. And if we get enough time, we'll circle back to repurposing these podcasts also, because I want people to be aware that it never has to be a one and done deal. There's so much content and so much leverage, uh, information, Diva, I'm using your word, so much leverage that you can gain out of doing a podcast, being a podcaster. So let me skip over here to Pamela Stone, who is also a podcaster. She's not only an author and speaker, but she is a podcaster. So Pamela, tell me about how you harnessed power from being a podcaster, your story.
Well, so my story works out a little bit differently. I have a coach and mentor, Dr. Latrice Wright, who was my coach, and I was actually doing Facebook Lives. I work with women who are in corporate, who are unfortunately who's out of corporate, and I'm still currently sitting in a corporate office, and I'm sitting in a corporate office in a cubicle thinking about what's next. What am I going to do? Am I going to sit in these cubicles, in these walls for the rest of my life? And I promise you, that day that I asked that question, it hit me hard. It hit me super hard. And I had to call my coach. And so she's like, there is a perfect way for you to talk about how you feel. And there's millions of other women that you can connect to with your story. So I started doing Facebook Lives. Facebook Lives were going great. And she says, well, let's try podcasting. Now, I don't know about any of you other beautiful ladies, but when she introduced that to me, it was like me podcasting and oh my goodness, and all the other trickling feelings and effects on it. But I did it. I jumped and did it, and there is no regrets into doing podcasting. Over there, I can talk about how I feel, and there's no judgment. As well as now, I do just like Yvonne does. I also do I do the virtual too, so you can see as well you can hear. So I have it where you can do audio as well as visual. I do that because I want to connect. I want them to know how I feel. I want that personal feeling and understand that I was in their shoes. And as long as we lock arms, as I tell my women guests, we lock arms and we as women become a most powerful entity, and then we can become unstoppable. So with that, the podcast has taught me that, as well as I've come across some amazing women as I'm sitting here, and the podcasting has opened up so many doors. So many doors. So anybody that has any doubts, trust me, let the doubts go, jump. We did it, and look where we are. And we have, and no regrets and no looking back.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Pamela. I mean, as they look at everyone, look at the panel, all of us are over 40 years old. And the thing that almost brings tears to my eyes is the fact that we took the grit and the gumption, and we took what we knew was inside of us, and we decided it doesn't matter about the technology behind any of this. It doesn't matter about what the stats say about us as podcasters. We are over 40. We're doing this. We got ourselves mentors, coaches, and as far as when I do background checks on everybody, as I did on everyone here, we are not novices. We've been doing this for a while. So yeah, we are here celebrating today because we are podcasters, and we're about to move this story on over to people who understand, entrepreneurs who understand the power of podcasting. They have decided, I'm going to be on podcast. I'm going to be a guest. I'm going to use this opportunity, and they are here today. So I hope everybody's they're really listening to us as podcasters. So now tilt your hat a little bit, and we're going to have a conversation with folks that believe in the power of podcasting. They have been guests not one time, but several times, most of the time. So I want to hear from Lisa Hurt, Aleasia, Lisa Hurt. I know that you were very shy when it came to when it was time to become a guest on a podcast, but I think you're an old pro now. So you want to tell us a little bit about how you incorporate being a guest on a podcast with Flex Your Voice Marketing?
Sure, and thank you for the invite. And yeah, you're right. I had to make that transition into being comfortable just sitting behind the computer to sitting in front of the computer and talking to everybody. So um, again, I'm Lisa Hurt, Flex Your Voice Content Marketing, and what I do is craft compelling content to help you share your value and your brand to your audience. So basically, how that relates to podcasting, what I've noticed is you can transcribe that audio into publish your text. So those who don't get onto or not don't understand or haven't transitioned to the podcasting platform, you also can share what you do on content. And that's how it kind of relates. But it helps you flex your brand, it helps you flex your value and everything like that. Like social media, that's a platform that you can or may not use the podcast on a daily basis. So have your content out there, and it tells your audience why you are important, why they should establish loyalty to you to listen to your podcast. So that's how content can help you. Prior to or in between or behind a podcast, you have that content to help your followers become loyal to you. It drives results, you know what I mean? So that basically what that means is content, because some people, they'll sit there and listen to that podcast and they're interested. Now they're piqued. They're really interested in what you're doing and who you are, which is also very significant because in order to relate to you, people want to know you, right? So they hear your podcast. Who is that person all about? You have that content and they can read up on you. They can read who you are personally, how you relate to them, what your background is to say that you can talk to your audience. And that's what content is about. That's how you flex your value and your brand and your reputation to your target audience.
So what I hear you say is when you are an entrepreneur, you have to stay on top of the fold, most definitely. And when you are a podcast guest, then that amplifies and gives the opportunity for people to know, like, and trust you because they not only hear you, but they're able to see you and relate to you. Is that what I hear you saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And being a guest for me was about sharing that value of the content, using the podcaster's platform and showing how your podcast can make a difference to the masses because they'll know exactly what you just said. They'll know what your value is on the podcast and off the podcast. Exactly.
Why they should even engage with you on LinkedIn or something of the kind.
Right. Yeah. That's why I was mentioning social media because it'll get them there. I'll provide the content, but it'll get them to where you are on the podcasting platform. You just want to get them there. And then you'll establish the loyalty because you do what you do because you're experts. So once they get there, you got them. It's just a way to get them there and keep them engaged and keep them loyal to you. Yes, absolutely.
Build out that relationship. That's very, very important.
Yes.
You know, I'm loving what I hear because I want people to understand that it's very important for you to be a podcast guest when you are an entrepreneur. And people usually don't put that together, but I'm trying to build that picture for people now. Relationships, very, very important. I got from my mentor and strategist, I want to read something that he instilled in me, and I live by it. I have it, as a matter of fact, written out. He said, relax. He said, master your craft, master your message, cultivate deep, lasting, fulfilling relationships, and watch what starts to happen. That came from Brother Bedford. I live by that. I believe that. So lately I've been over on LinkedIn, and let me tell you, I hired a virtual assistant, somebody to help me just really grow that out over there, part of social media, and it has exploded. So I want to hear from Linda Waterhouse. Linda is a LinkedIn trainer, been a guest on many, many podcasts. She knows LinkedIn through and through. So Linda, tell us, how do we use LinkedIn and put that together with podcasting? How does that work out for folks?
Well, thanks, Margot. The very fact that I'm here is testament to what LinkedIn can do, because we met on LinkedIn and started a conversation. And what I'm hearing people talking about is what's the best way to have people get to know us, that know, like, and trust factor. And whether it's by reading our content or our books, or some people like to listen. They listen in the car. I have often wondered, I'm hoping that podcast listeners have not gone down since fewer people are commuting. But I just look at LinkedIn as a great way to be serious about our business and use all these opportunities like podcasting and books and social media and content to get our message out so that we can serve the people who we really connect with the most. LinkedIn, even before the pandemic, LinkedIn is a great place to find the exact people that you want to meet. I mean, many of us spend time going to networking groups, and don't get me wrong, I love meeting people face to face. There's an energy there that you can't get online, but sometimes our ideal clients or referral partners just aren't at the networking events that we can go to. And LinkedIn has great filtering so that we can find the exact people that we want to start conversations with. And that's exactly how you and I met. And I really do feel like we have a connection, because didn't I say yesterday that I never answer my phone when I don't recognize the number? But the last two times you called, I just was like, I'm going to answer this. And it was you.
I love what's going on LinkedIn, and I really hope that it doesn't turn into just a spam fest and that type of thing. I hope that we really do look upon that real estate as prime real estate, an opportunity to connect. So I want to get your thought on that while I have your ear. There are people, now that the pandemic is here, and everybody's trying to push and get relationships going in any way possible. Do you think that there's too much buy from me, buy from me, buy from me over on LinkedIn going on now, and we don't even know each other? Do you see, what's your take on that?
It's funny that you should mention that, Margot, because in general, I compare LinkedIn to going to a networking meeting, where if I went to a networking meeting and somebody came up to me and handed me their business card and said, "Hi, I sell insurance, buy from me," that would be very off-putting. I like to get to know people first. I would want them to understand whether I'm even interested in their service or not. There's a lot of services I'm just not interested. I think there was a study that came out that really only 3% of the people that we talk to are actively looking for our services at any given time. So I think for that reason, we really need to focus on building the relationships, having conversations with people, because they may not want to buy or are interested in our services now, but that doesn't mean that they can't introduce us to other people, or I can't connect them with other people, and they might need something down the road. So for me, I use LinkedIn more for, building relationships and meeting people that I wouldn't be able to meet otherwise. There's a lot of features that the people that I teach in my classes aren't even aware of, such as, and I don't see anybody, well, some people's names, LinkedIn even has this audio clip that you can pronounce your name on mobile now, which is really handy, because I, read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, years ago, and I know that people's names are very important. So there's a number of people who they want to get to know you, but what's really interesting is that in some of my outreach, just the last couple of days, people have said to me, it's kind of fake to, pretend to get to know people and then just, hit them with a marketing message, down the road. It's a waste of time. which I find really, really interesting because I never think that getting to know somebody is a waste of time. You know, does somebody want my service? Maybe, maybe not. But regardless, I really enjoy getting to know people. I love hearing their stories.
That makes a very interesting point, because that's been my thought for, I don't know, ever since COVID hit. My greatest fear for a lot of people is that we aren't able to get out and network the way we used to. And for some people being at home or not being able to go to the office or the work source, that whatever, this thing of relationships is very important. I think it's very important to just have a conversation with with a person. I know we're all in business and conversations are money, most definitely. But I do believe that we should take time out just to ask a person, how are you doing? Does it always have to be about money and only be on the hunt for the person that's probably going to spend $2, $3, $5, $10,000 with you? And I'm probably being very naive about this, but I think as we find time in our days, we will build stronger relationships unbeknownst to ourselves as we just reach out to a person, not try to sell all the time and just see what they are all about, you know? Because I mean, yeah, we met on LinkedIn. I think Yvonne, DiVita, we met over on LinkedIn. It is a powerful source. I just don't want to see people soiling it by just sell. If we can get relational. Okay, I'm getting on a soapbox here, ladies. I'm getting off. I'm back and back.
I completely agree with you. And that when I asked, my students, what are your goals? And they mention their goals, which is usually, getting new business, which of course, that's what we all want to do. But, using LinkedIn to get conversations offline is, I think, the best goal. Because again, people may not want to buy from us, but like you haven't bought a service from me, but I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversations. You've invited me to be on your podcast. So there's value, many different kinds of value that we can give people.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that. There's value in so many different ways. And then the referrals that come out of just being connected with a person. Yvonne DiVita is a master at that. And I'm going to toot your horn, lady. Once she's very relational, and once she understands what you bring to the table, this is my interpretation. She understands what you bring to the table and that you are trustworthy. You are a professional. Yvonne will send some referrals your way. She really, really will. So I'm going to get back to you in a minute, Yvonne. I want to talk more about, and we'll all talk about referring people and when should we? When shouldn't we? What does all of that look like when we are running our businesses? But I want to get to the information diva. She's doing something very, very significant, something very different, Deborah Thorne. And first of all, Deb, will you please go ahead and tell us about the offer that you made to folks that are going to sign up for you, text you, and reach out to you?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. First of all, good morning to everyone. So glad to be here. And Margot, thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay, so the easiest way, people always say, well, how do you get in touch with you? I got it down to a science. If you'll text Diva to 21,000, you get all of my information, probably even sometimes more information than you want. But for our listeners today, I do have a special offer for the first 10 people who will go to Diva, I Want Brownies. I'll send you some brownies, okay? So it's diva-iwantbrownies.com. Go there, fill it out, and some brownies will be on the way. So now I got the work part out of the way. I was listening to you guys talk about LinkedIn and how people interact and all of that. And for me, I use LinkedIn a lot as well. And I'm always amazed that I immediately, when we connect, I say, hey, you know what? Let's have coffee. And I've been doing virtual coffee long before COVID. Okay, so COVID just fell into my wheelhouse. I'm like, oh yeah, may I never go to a face-to-face networking meeting again. I'm good, okay? But here's the deal. I will send people a thing that says, let's have coffee, and they send me back their sales material. Really? Or I looked at your profile and I don't see where I want your services, so no need to talk. Really? Okay, so I don't want to know you anyway. Thank you for excluding yourself. We're really good. But what you failed to realize is I was deemed the Connected Woman of Influence for 2019 from Connected Women of Influence. Okay, so I connect people all the time. That's what I do. When I have that conversation with you, I'm asking, I always tell people this is not a sales call. This call is to get to know you and your business so that I might think about who I can connect you with. Now, I don't go down the referral path, and I got reasons. I don't refer people, but I certainly connect people. If I know people who have like intentions or like businesses, I'm always putting them together. So that's what I do. And in that vein, I've got something really special coming up. I'm like so excited. We are doing the Leverage Conference for speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs. Takes place December 3rd through the 5th. Margot is one of our master instructors. We have a day of masters. We have Yvonne, you might want to know this. We do a day of, we have an author showcase where we're featuring authors. They get a chance to talk about their books and how they got there. And we are particularly interested in self-published authors, people who are doing it the hard way, okay? Because we're all out there grinding. This will put them in a place where they'll meet some people other than what they do. One of the other unique things that's going to happen with the conference is we're serving breakfast and lunch. And remember, in this time, we don't call it virtual, we call it in real time from the comfort of your home or office is where it takes place. But my firm belief is that if we network, collaborate, we create opportunity. And that's what leverage is. Just as this opportunity came together, and it's really as simple as Margot reaching out to the people she's connected to and said, hey, come join me on a panel. We now have an opportunity to get to know each other. The world gets to know who we are and what we're doing. Yes. That's the power of leverage. No more is it, and I'm a hush because now I'm on my soapbox, but here's the deal. Tyler Perry put it into words. I knew what I meant, but when he said, while you're asking for a seat at the table, I will be down in Atlanta building my table. That's what I'm talking about. Let us quit asking other people for permission to do what we do. Yes. 2 or 3 of us get together and make it happen. So off my soapbox. Yes. So anyway, I am the information diva. Text diva 21,000 if you want to hear more of my soapbox. Okay.
Hey, not a soapbox at all. I believe that I have come to understand the power of collaborations because you're just one person and you can't do everything. This venture is a collaborative work, as a matter of fact. If I can take a moment, I would like to tell everybody how this happened. International Podcast Day. I heard about it last week. I've been on an interview. I guess I might call it a tour. I've almost been on somebody's podcast almost every day for the last 2 weeks. So International Podcast Day really kind of fell through the cracks for me. But I heard about it last week and I thought, this really is global. Podcasting is everywhere. Saudi Arabia, Korea, Japan. I had people yesterday from the UK trying to get in to the podcast league. So it is huge. So I thought, wow, it would be so great to be able to have a panel discussion and just some people that I know, like, and trust to come and let's talk about podcasting. Let's celebrate podcasting and let's let the world know that we are over 40. We love podcasting as though we were 15, 20, 25, 30 years old. You know, we do it, we love it, yada, yada, yada. Let me get off my soapbox on that. So I saw an opportunity to pitch to the folks over there because we're getting together 24 hours worth of conversation concerning podcasting and celebrating it. So I pitched it, went on downstairs, got some juice, got a little bit of lunch. By the time I got back to my computer, I kid you not, it was about less than an hour. I go back to my email, and not only was this opportunity accepted by the founders, the creators, but it was also already posted on their website. So I knew it was legit. I knew it was big. I knew it had opportunity to really expand out. So that's how this happened. So the power of podcasting that's one entity of it. The second is that I have this fabulous list of people. And I went to my file cabinet, grabbed up files, and I said, wow, who do I call? This only gives people 1 day, 2 days tops to be able to move some things around or say, I want to be a part of it. So this is what happened. And I think I'm applauding you, ladies. I really am. I know some of you all of you all move things about to be a part of this celebration. So we are celebrating with the world. So give yourselves a hand. I need to let the world know how this happened. And then thank you to the folks over at hashtag podcast, International Podcast Day. This is really, really awesome. So let's talk about podcasting. As you know it, as a podcaster or as a podcast guest, how do you know it has changed the game, changed the landscaping of your business, how we communicate, how we reach each other since COVID has hit? And anybody can just chime in on that.
I definitely will chime in. I feel that since COVID has happened, for me, podcast has been a way for me to connect more with women. I'm connecting more with women, meaning more women are looking for a connection with other women, meaning they're looking for a relationship, and meaning that they're looking for someone to lean on, knowing that some other woman is out here going through or been through what they're going through and saying, hey, can I connect with you, and being in a no judgment zone. This is also what COVID has allowed me to do and has allowed me to create in my podcasting, will allow to let women know that it is what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, what happens on What's Next podcast for women stays in the podcast. So we go in with the no judgment zone, but knowing that we're there for each other, we're there to support each other, and knowing that we're caring and taking you to the next level. So COVID has actually created the opportunity for me to reach more women and connect to more women on a more interpersonal level, more so than anything else.
Anybody else finding that to be so? Because I totally agree with those statements. Anybody else finding that?
I agree too, because I think for me, I was looking to, you know how sometimes you do something for so long and you have people to say, I'll support you, and I was in that place in my life where I said, okay, does what I have to say really resonate? Or is it just family and friends saying, we got your back, girl? You know what I'm saying? After a while, it becomes the same people. And you start wondering, do I really bring value beyond my supporters, my followers, the likes? Am I really resonating at a deep level? And so podcasting allowed me to connect with new people. I needed new blood. Mm-hmm. I needed to connect with somebody that didn't look like me, didn't sound like me. I wanted to know, because I felt like my message was global, and I wanted to make sure that it would relate to not just me and no more, or just mom and them, but would it really relate to somebody in India, a woman in India who's maybe struggling with whether she's enough or not, or a woman in Africa who's wondering if she's enough or not? Would it transcend racial lines? Would it transcend socioeconomic lines? And could I really connect person to person, heart to heart, human to human? And that's what podcasting did for me. It got me in front of new people who did not know me. They didn't know me from anything. They didn't know my history. They didn't know about my books. They didn't know me about my coaching. They really weren't concerned about any of that. All they were concerned about was, did the title resonate with them? Or that blurb that they read in the very beginning. All it was a title and a blurb. So they didn't know me beyond that. And to have people just to have somebody download that doesn't know you. I was just jumping up and down with the first download. And for those that are listening that are worried about, a lot of times you go to these podcast groups, and one of the major things that people ask is, how many people should be downloading? Yeah. Am I doing enough? Should I have just 1,000 downloads in this? People are always trying to compare themselves. And I was like, gee, I was just happy to get the first download of somebody that I did not know, that wasn't somebody who had been around me for a while and gotten used to me, or, had their ideas of how I ought to be. But can I just stand behind this mic? And this right here is my podcast station, y'all. Sitting in this chair, laptop, this in my ear. That's all I bring. No fancy equipment, no, just this right here. And to know that I have over 2,500 downloads, that it was new. Most of it is new people that didn't even know me. So that's the power of it. And that I think is what it can really do in connecting with new people, changing, not so much changing what you do as a coach or a writer or whatever, but get you in front of new people, which is what we always want to do, connecting with people who will later become our clients, or people who will learn to trust us and feel like, okay, I can refer her because I know her heart. Before I know her title, I know her heart, and I know I can trust her. I think that was very important to me.
I love that. I'm loving everything that's being said. I really, really am. When I was, I had the awesome opportunity to be a guest on your show, and we did talk about being enough. That, when I replay that one, it just garners so much attention, because I think when we hold it right there, a lot of us, and I would venture to say men and women, we wonder, are we really enough? And as a podcaster, you said something very poignant. We compare ourselves to how many downloads and streams somebody else has. But, there's two ways to read those numbers. So it's very important for you to not compare yourself. When you decide to become a podcaster, just do it. As the information Diva says, done is better than not, or done is better than none. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, Deb, but the main thing is to get started. Do not compare yourself, because it takes time to build out an audience. Kudos to you for the number that you have, Suzette. Everybody knows it takes time and consistency, content, and diligence. So I'm glad that you said that. Do not compare yourself, and do know that you are enough. If you throw your hat in this podcasting game, you are enough. If you get past episode number 8, then you are enough. Just keep going. That's the thing about it.
I'm going to clean that up.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. I'm sorry, Deborah. Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to clean up real quickly. That is, done is better than perfect.
Oh, thank you. That too.
Done is better than perfect. Okay.
That is, and here comes Linda Murray. Done is better than perfect. And let's talk about that. We have another panelist here, Linda Murray Bullard. We'll let her get in the seat here, and then we'll hear from her. But let's talk about that. We talked about being enough. Done is better than perfect. I hear so many people say, I don't want to be a guest because I don't know who will have me on their show. And we have so many people say, I don't want to start to be a podcaster because I don't know what my content should be. And it goes on and on and on. So while Linda's getting in her seat and catching her breath, will somebody talk about that? Done is better than perfect.
So yeah, Margot. Mm-hmm. The done is better than good. Is that what we're see?
Good. We'll say good, perfect. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, perfect is the problem, and I live with that with my clients, because when they're writing a book, it has to be perfect. Well, if you spend, and I just wrote a little ebook called "Are You Using These Thinking Excuses Not to Write Your Book This Year?" And one of them being because you want it to be perfect. And so you're stuck on chapter 1. Chapter 1 never gets done. And so I keep asking throughout this little 13 excuses thing. So how's chapter 1 coming? You know, and the point is, you are good enough. I also meet people, and I'm so blessed. I'm so glad Linda's here, because LinkedIn is just phenomenal if you pay attention and be the person who is willing to give, because then you will receive. So people connect with me. I never look at them and say, well, I don't know why I would connect with you. I say, thank you for connecting with me. And what can I do for you today? Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, Deb, it's starting that conversation. And I don't worry how perfect I am anymore, because I'm old. It took me a long time to get this old, and I get to break all the rules now. I don't have to follow, you know? Isn't that how it is? And so I talk to everybody, and I meet so many people on LinkedIn. In my video, the dog is here, just so you know. So if you hear things going, that's the dog over here. In my video show, I have some phenomenal people that I met on LinkedIn, and they're from all sorts of places all over the world. I would have never met them otherwise.
You know it.
Would have never happened. And they're just phenomenal, smart women. And again, they all talk, Margot, you've been on the show, they all talk about their experiences, because it's so important for other people to see that once upon a time you were just like them.
Yes. Yes. You know it. Say that again, because we forget that everybody had to get started. Say just one more time. Let the world hear that.
You know, all of us, once upon a time, we were just like that person who woke up today and said, I have a big idea I want to do something with. And so did we.
Yes. So done is better than good. We woke up one day and said, I'm going to start my business. I'm going to write my book. I'm going to start that podcast. And when we did, no matter what happened, we took on done is better than good. Done is better than perfect. I love this. I love this. Linda, are you with us?
Hello, ladies.
Hello,
Hi.
hello. I'm glad you're here. You know what? I won't go through introducing everyone. We're all podcasters, or we're podcast guests, but we're all entrepreneurs right here.
Absolutely.
This is Linda Murray Bullard. She is a connector, another lady connector, and she has the business plug over on LinkedIn. So it looks like we all are very at home with LinkedIn, and this is how we've all connected on that awesome platform. So Linda, real quick, will you tell us a little bit about the business plug? Because the information diva, Deborah Thorne, is a connector. So you tell us about the business plug, and how have you used that to, as you say that you're not a podcaster. I call you a podcaster, but you say you're not a podcaster. So how do you use the power of podcasting to actually benefit the world and bring the business plug to us all?
Absolutely. So the business plug mixer comes on Sundays at 7 Eastern. And what it does is I invite other entrepreneurs to come on, because what I find is visibility is a problem, right? And so I use my platform so that others can see who's out there, because one of the things that I deal with small businesses, and one of the things that they deal with mostly is people knowing that they're out there. Like, I give them free advertising on my platform so that they are able to increase their reach. My student named me the plug. And so you all know Paul C. Bronson on LinkedIn. Yes. I went to one of his conferences in Barbados, and he said, you're the business plug. And so I'm not just the plug, I'm the business plug specifically. And so that's what I do, is I plug in. Podcasting is a business. And so understanding how to put a framework under it so that it is recognized as a business, and so that it's seen by the world as a business, is one of the things that the business plugs mixer is all about.
I love that. I'm glad that you came in and you set the framework, because so many people think, oh, I'm going to become a podcaster because I'm going to make a whole lot of money. Well, you know what? It takes time, if you make any at all. And as Linda said, you have to lay out that framework. I love the fact that when you are a guest on the Business Plug, this lady just lets the world revolve around you, and that is so cool. It's not like you're in competition with anybody or in competition with her. She is giving you the exposure that you need. So thank you for joining us. I'm so glad. I want to hear more from you, Linda. I really, really do, because
I'm blessed to be here.
you're getting together a school of business. And since, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and continue on with that conversation, because you are putting together, about to start up another school of business, and people can come on and they'll actually understand how to put the framework, the structure of their business together. So real quick, you want to tell us something about that?
Sure.
And you know what? And make sure that we understand this is how a podcaster can structure their business and actually move from hobby to business.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I do is, most people that want to just sell something, they say I'm in business, but there is more to it than just selling something. So I teach them things about structure, like being properly structured. And that is very important if you're a podcaster. I teach them about systems, marketing and sales, marketing versus sales, because marketing gets you known and sales gets you paid. And so I teach them about distribution, how to get that word out there so that people can find you. And then I teach them customer service on the back end, because what happens is it's not one and done. Like the one and done, you can't scale. So I teach them how to create customer journeys.
Wow.
And so it's all about the classes that I'm getting ready to start. Actually, it started Saturday morning from 9 to 12. It's one day a week, 3 hours a day. It is to help them to get the framework. Like, we talk about business, and we talk about everything from the exit strategy to how you're going to get it framed, to how you're going to get known, how you're going to do marketing. We teach them about finances, how they'll know gross profit versus net profit, or how they even know how many break-even points they have. Like, we teach them the intricate parts of business. And so on Saturday mornings, after everybody's had their week, we spend 3 hours together. I get people to come in and do mentoring. So I have a network that is global. So people are from around the world. Gabby Bowes, I don't know if you know Gabby Bowes. Gabby Bowes is a 13-year-old little girl who sells hair bows and is a six-figure maker. She said, I made six figures when I was in the 6th grade. But her mom came on and she was one of the mentors for my class last session. So it's people from all over, from all types of ways, making 6, 7, 8-figure businesses come in, and they provide mentorship for my students.
Wow. See, this is another reason why it is so fabulous to be a podcaster, because you meet people who are actually doing things to make life better for everyone. If you are an entrepreneur, you don't have to stay stuck. I always tell people you need a mentor, a strategist. So it sounds like Linda, we need to talk, because we need to collaborate. I have the Podcast Academy online. I teach people how to podcast, but then we merge that thing together. Absolutely. So that what's the business structure, because I don't get into that part of it, and that is a necessary component. But that's another that's out of this realm type of conversation. So I want to circle on back to and let everybody have a say about today. And I feel it in my heart. It's a very special day, a time for us to really let our peeps know that we are over 40 years old. And I'll say it over and over and over again. I want people to understand that whatever you're doing in this life, age does not matter. Podcasting is here, that is a mighty tool for you to use no matter what you're doing. Linda Waterhouse is here along with most of us. We can tell you LinkedIn is powerful. So I want to start out with, and let's pick it up with Yvonne DiVita. Yvonne, you are helping women write books. And get across to them the fact that write your book and don't let age hang you up. And I think this is how we're going to close out. We're going to close out with demystifying age and moving forward and showing up the way you're supposed to show up. Is that clear, ladies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell a little story. When I think I was 35, and that was like 100 years ago. But my 4-year-old son was in the back seat of the car, and we had gone shopping, or we were in the car on our way to shopping, and I was pulling into the shopping plaza, and a car was pulling out of the inn and out of the entrance. And it was an old person. It had to be someone who's probably as old as I am now, but it was an older person, 60, 70 years old. And I said, you know what, when I get old, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in the out and out the in and do whatever I want. And my son said, but Mommy, you are old. So, old is just what other people think. It's not anything that you should worry about. My husband, he says he's going to live to be 120, and maybe he is. And the goal, though, is to be healthy while you do that. Well, here's how you do that. You do things you love. The way we're doing this, ladies, you share your gifts with the world. And one of the ways is through podcasting. Well, another way is to write a book. And I'll tell you, my mission in asking women to write books is because other women are out there and they desperately need role models. They desperately need the message that they can do it too. They go to the bookstore and I'll tell you what they see. They go to the business section and the best-selling books, 99% are by men. Mm-hmm. So women need other women to write books and become role models and help them bring their big idea. That's what I'm about, nurturing big ideas. Notice the word nurturing. I don't tell you what to do. I don't have a whip. I'm going to nurture you to get your big idea into that book. And a book is a business. So Margot, I know that you understand it. A book is like having another small business. So I mentioned earlier, my husband, I think, just put up my, are you using these 13 excuses not to write your book this year? And basically, it does a little bit, talks a little bit in a humorous way, I think, about how a book is a business. So people use all these excuses not to do it because the business part of it requires attention. Yes. Well, one of the fabulous, fabulous ways to take that book and that business and make it successful is to meet people like you ladies and talk about it on a podcast.
That's it.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. But I'll tell you, we ladies over 40, over 50, we have the stories to tell. Yes. That's all I'm going to say.
I totally agree. I concur. That's exactly, you summed it up. You really did. Deb, take it away. What do you say about age? This thing of age, we're over 40, we're over 50, we're over 60. What does it matter?
Over 40? Are you kidding me? My son is over 40. Okay, so you know what? Really and truly, we take a look at what's going on in the world today, and this really lets us know that age doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, nationality doesn't matter, okay? Unless we choose to make it matter. And my big thing is, now is the time to do whatever dream it was you wanted to do. Because if not now, when? For real, okay? This is the time when technology allows us to run our own radio shows and TV shows. Technology allows us to put on a fabulous conference without going into a hotel. There are just so many opportunities that if we just take a moment, look at the opportunities and think about what you really wanted to do when you were that little girl. When she was before the world told her she couldn't, what was it that you really wanted to do? And now is the time to do it. What does it look like when you do it now? Just, this for me is like the best time of life. I don't have any responsibilities. Yay, me. Okay. Can eat what I want, when I want, or not eat, go, whatever. Okay. So taking advantage of that, added to the skills that we've gained over the decades and the knowledge and wisdom we've gained, we can conquer the world, ladies. And I just say, go out there and conquer it.
Mm, mm, mm. Indeed. Once again, I'm not going to put a footnote to anything. I'm just going to, Linda, chime in. Let's hear what you have to say about this thing of age and moving on to do what we are supposed to do.
Absolutely. Age and the numbers is just numbers. It's a mindset, right? I'm 60 and you talk about 40-year-olds. My son, I'm like Deborah, my son is 40, in his 40s, mid-40s. So the whole thing about it is what you want to be. You get to show up fully as who you want to be at this age. Like you don't have the peer pressure of looking to see what's over left or over right. If you stay focused and know by this time, we're supposed to know our purposes and our passions and our efforts. And it's when we can bring the three of those together that we become the powerhouses somebody mentioned in the comments. That's when we become the powerhouses, is when we know we don't have to be, we don't have to apologize for being 60. We're here. Yes. And we're here to make a difference. And so the world will know that we've been through this place by what we put in it.
Oh my goodness. I'm loving it. This is too good. Linda Waterhouse, let's hear from you, please. Let's keep this going.
Well, I love what Deborah said about done is better than perfect. And somebody said something to me that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. So there's lots of different variations of that. I am not quite 60 yet, but I just had my oldest daughter get married a couple weeks ago. And thinking about the grandchildren that are yet to come and knowing just how much I've learned in raising kids and how different it's going to be with grandkids, that it's the same sort of thing with your business, that when you're starting out with your business, you can't compare your start with someone else's middle. And no matter how competent we are now, in 10 years, we're going to be even better. Mm-hmm. So it's not worth, feeling like we're not good enough. We are good enough, and hopefully we'll get even better. And I really, really love watching and hearing all your stories, especially those who, started something new when they were older, because it's never too late. One of my favorite clients is an 80-year-old man who used to be a private investigator, and trying to think how many books he's written. I think he's on his 5th book. I mean, I just love it. He has, creativity coming out the wazoo, and he wouldn't have that knowledge unless he was, the age that he is. Mm-hmm. And that's, I don't know, that's what I focus on. I really love helping women who maybe are a little bit older, so they're a little tentative about the technology. And I make that easy. I like to say that I am a translator from geek speak to street speak, that I really like to help people learn how to use these things like podcasting and LinkedIn. And if I just may say, Margot, I also have a download, because people often say to me, I want to go on LinkedIn. I go there and I don't know what to do. So I have a 5-step daily routine, which makes it really easy. You can do it in like 10 minutes. And please go to my website, which is lindawaterhouse.com, because I really just want to help as many people as possible. And I have a new thing. So thank you, Deborah, for reminding me. If you text the word LinkedIn Rocks, all one word, LinkedIn Rocks, to 22828, you should be getting that download. So please try it out, because I'm learning new things every day myself.
Well, I tell you what, I want you ladies to email over all of this information, because I want to make sure everybody has access to this great information. Wait a minute, that download to keep me on track, I'm going to get that myself. That is fabulous. You ladies really came with the mindset to help. And Linda, you make a good point. I think at this age, we understand how timid others are. They want to, they're like that little in double dutch. You're just kind of waiting for the time to get in there. But can somebody help me get in there? Somebody had to teach us how to do double dutch, So it's not as though people don't want to learn how to podcast or they don't want to become entrepreneurs. Sometimes they just need a softer hand, a slower hand, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think at this age, we all are of the temperament that, hey, I'll help you. I understand. I've been down that road. I don't know everything. So you break up a good point, but I don't want to start talking and cut off the flow. Pamela Stone, tell us about this thing of age, please.
Oh my goodness. I love talking about this. You know what? As I hit over 50, I think that was 50 is actually 20 to me. Because I have now know my purpose. I know my passion. And so if anyone's out there that is questioning about starting a new business, I am one that have now, and Elisa's, I know she's on here, she's my content manager. I have literally started 3 businesses. And so if anyone said you can't do it, that's a lie. And I will attest and I will back you up and say that's a lie. Don't let I can't stop you. Don't let what if stop you. You go here and go after your what's next, whatever it is, and go after it go out with a blink. Don't worry about if you fail, you fail. So what? Get back up. And what's the song says? Brush your shoulders off and go out here and rock what's next. And don't let it hold you back. And so what if you fail? It's okay. Get back up and keep going and don't let it stop you.
Oh, I love that. Don't be afraid of failure, because at the end of the day, we really have become acquainted with failure. We were students in school, we failed some things in life. I mean, as a parent, some things we did right, some things we didn't do right. So when it comes to our business and writing our books, and even forming relationships, don't let failure stop us. All right. Suzette, Vearnon. Yes, go ahead. Someone had something to say.
Just 1 second. I want to mention in this group and anyone who's listening, because I also, Pamela, have started multiple businesses. And one of them was a pet blogging community. So, I mean, say that fast 5 times. The reason I'm bringing this up is when I wanted to start it, I went to some experts, some friends I knew that I said, hey, what do you think of this idea? Would you like to do this? We're going to have a conference and invite pet bloggers and pet brands, and we're going to build this community. And I was roundly told, that's a crazy idea. Are you nuts? You can't do that. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And it lasted 10 years. We had 10 national conferences, and it was purchased by PetSmart. So that's all I got to say, ladies.
Drop the mic after that one. 10 years and PetSmart. What if you hadn't followed your gut and just went for it? Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne, for leaving us with that note. That is noteworthy, really and truly. Kudos to you. I hope everybody heard that. All right, Miss Suzette, let's hear from you, this thing of age.
Oh my God. Somebody used to say, age is nothing but a number, and I used to say, well, tell that to my knees. But anyway, you know what, though? I think 60 is the new 30 as far as the virility and the desire to leave a legacy. I think that's the thing for me at 60 years old. I'm more about legacy. And it's a joke that Linda Murray and I have about, people say, boy, when you have an idea, you just run with it. It's like, yeah, because we know we don't have as much time as we used to have. And I think that's the other thing about getting older is you realize that you have lived pretty much most of your life now. So you don't have time to wait and ask permission and make sure all the ducks line up. Like I said earlier, but podcasting, I didn't start and I still don't. I'm in season 3 of podcasting. I'm still using this little microphone that I got from Target, and I'm still sitting here in my lazy boy. I'm still doing it this way. And it just goes to show you, and I think that's the beauty of getting older, is you realize that you are enough. You've gone through enough experiences that you realize you have outlasted what could have killed you.
Yes. Oh my.
If that doesn't let you know that you're enough to start a podcast, what will let you know? Yeah. Or that you live to tell the tale. So write your book. So start your new business. Even with COVID, many of us have gone through blips. Like I said earlier, lost a major contract, and I was in my 50s when that happened. That was like, about a year ago, Linda, remember? About a year ago is when this happened. So here I am at 59 years old, starting all over again. And I think what gives me the solace is to know that I've been through worse than this, and I'm still here. Yes. And all this is only going to be a lesson so I can bless somebody else, because that's the legacy. I want to leave a legacy that even after I'm gone, I've made a big enough deposit in this world that somebody going to know I was here. And so that's the beauty. So I'm loving 60s. We can put a little bit of liniment on the knees. We can work with that. But I feel like I'm revitalized in that I don't have to ask permission. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just realize when I show up, all my experience comes with me, and that nobody can take from me. So, yeah, that's what I got to say.
Wow. Yeah, we came today because we have something to say, and that is so true. I hope that people are taking all of this inspiration and how-to information that you ladies are bringing. I hope that they are indeed taking all of this in, because what kept coming to my mind as I listened to everyone, and I think I said it to each one of you all yesterday, this time last year, a lot of people were getting ready to do the vision boards, and they were getting ready to go into a brand new year. They had all these plans and aspirations, and I'm fitting to, and some people even actually got started on some projects. But I would venture to say, when we look at how many people have lost their lives to COVID, a lot of people didn't finish. They never had a chance to get started. They never had a chance to finish. So it's very important that we get started and we show up and we listen to these ladies and understand now is our time, because you can, with commitment and action, now is the time to make your move and become a podcaster and an entrepreneur, write your book. You can do all of that. Lisa Hurt, let's hear from you. Let's talk about this thing of age, lady.
All right, let me tell you a little story about age, okay? So I started this venture with my business years ago, 2005 to be exact. And I failed 3 times. And I was on Margot's podcast, and I told the story. Really, I didn't plan to tell it, but it just flowed like that. So I realized it's a part of where I am now, right? So I did fail 3 times with this, but I didn't have the right mindset, right? But let me tell you how I got the mindset that I have now, and things have really, really transformed. When I was 50, that age thing, when I was 50, I had a stroke, okay? So from that, I looked back over my years and I said, God, you've put everything in place for me, and now I see this where I'm supposed to go. But it took that to happen to realize where to hone my message and realize where I'm supposed to be, about to be 53 in November. And I realized now I am an empowerment industry guru. I write for empowerment people like you all. That is my passion. That's where I'm supposed to be. Now, podcasting is all about visibility. It's all about influence. And I want to help you all do that. And I like to be a part of you all because I see you do that and you empower me. So that's where I am. And that's how I feel my age is significant here, and why it's not significant, because I did start over at 50. So that's where I am now. And you all's stories are even inspiring me more. So I'll say this, then I'll get off my soapbox, but I feel like I don't know. I'm still struggling with if I should be a podcaster. I'm still struggling with that because I don't know, in my calling of being a marketing empowerment writer, I'm not sure if podcasting is a part of that journey. So, but being a part of your family, your community, I'm happy in that right now. So that's where I am with the age thing, and that's where I am in being happy and being a part of this community right here.
Well, you know what, Lisa, you said something very important there, and I failed to let people know this is all about International Podcast Day, and industry is huge. And when you say you're struggling with the fact, what shall I podcast? Maybe I won't podcast. That is something that I want everybody to know. Everybody doesn't have to be a podcaster because to be a part of this industry. And I need to make that really, really clear, because we do need people that do copy. We need people that do graphics. We need people that do these awesome headshots so that when you are pitching, you have something decent to give to people. You know, it's not something that I'm not knocking your phone that takes great pictures, but I tell you, nothing like having a good headshot that's in your media packet ready to go. Yes. So we need all of that. So if you don't have to be a podcaster to celebrate International Podcast Day. If you are part of this fabulous industry, hey, got much to celebrate. I happen to know that if you get enough customers who are podcasters, you can make a pretty nice salary for yourself, because we get so bogged down with editing and all that other stuff until I know some people are making some pretty decent livings just by tapping into the podcast industry. Speaking of the podcasters and all of you ladies, we are at 10:17 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I said we'd be here for an hour. We are 17 minutes over. I respect your time. I would like to go a few more minutes. If you have to leave, then just let me know. And I thank you for being a part of us. If you could hang on until 10:30, I do have one more question. I'm good. I'm always saying I just have one more question, but for real, I do have one more question. So if someone has to leave, I understand, because at the end of the day, we are still entrepreneurs. So you all graciously gave me an hour, and I went over that time. It got so good, as Dr. Cheryl Wood says, it got so juicy until I just looked at the time and it was like, oh my goodness. So is everybody cool with the time? Okay, I didn't hear anybody say arrivederci. I didn't hear anybody say a see you deuces. So we're going to go on and ask another question. We have all reinvented ourselves. Before I ask that question, I do want to let everybody know I started Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation at age 61. I came out of corporate after 26 years, and I indeed took a year off to actually get my health back. And after a year, it came to my understanding that I love podcasting. It was a hobby for me. So it was time to get back to that. I hired the best coach that I could hire, and the rest is history. But I was 61 years old. And don't say, oh, it was a hobby. You understood about editing and all that stuff. No, I did not. So you learn what you love. You get all in with what you love, and you connect and you build these beautiful relationships with people along the way. You're always telling your story. You never forget your story. Brother Bedford, and I bring his name up often because I would not be here were it not for Brother Bedford. You always tell your story. And when I came out of corporate, I was a mess. I had to learn how to podcast from the inside out. That's taking a look at all of those things that hold you back from being able to show up authentically every day or every week. Whenever you're doing that podcast, you have to be able to show up authentically. So I learned all of that. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 3 months to get on air. It doesn't matter if it takes you a year, but just do it. Because I was 61 when I launched Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. And I'm just going to tell you one other thing about this whole story. Brother Bedford had a friend, Mr. Benny Randall from Verkay Bashani Radio, who started up a network, internet network. And I went over there with the concept, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation, helping women reinvent themselves, become authors, podcasters, and entrepreneurs. I was over there for 2 years. Do you know? Because I said yes, I garnered over 1 million downloads and streams. This is verifiable. Yes, I can verify what I just said. Had I leaned back and said, I can't do this, I'm not enough, I don't know enough, had I not invested everything into becoming a podcaster at 61 years old, I never would have verified and validated to myself and to my listeners that this is a viable platform. So I just had to let everybody know that, because I would be neglecting my tutelage, my tutoring. He taught me how to do that. So last question I have for everyone is this thing of reinvention. Mr. Benny Randall at Verkay Bashani called me the queen of reinvention, and I sure feel like it, but I know that I'm not the only one. So, ladies, in no certain order, will you tell us, and this really is these are our parting thoughts. Tell us about reinvention. And I know we've been talking about it, but can we drill down on what reinvention felt like to you? We can't tell the whole story, but was it scary? Or was it, how'd you go into your thing of reinventing yourself?
So for myself, it started with losing my job of 26 years, going through a divorce, and even having church problems. Like I had everything, I felt like I was in battle. But what I realized that anytime you separate from something that has attached to your heart, you need to take time to mourn the death of that. So taking the time to mourn the death of those relationships and those people who had to leave, because realizing some people are only in your life for a little while. And so when their time is up, it's time for them to go on. But you have to pick up what's left and learn from the lesson to move on. Reinventing myself means writing my book. Like that was so therapeutic for me. Putting my thoughts and ideas on losing my mom on Christmas Day when I was 9, having my son at 14, and having him to be who he is today in the world, and then his granddaughter. So generationally changing my mind, which changed their lives. Just understanding, taking that quiet time to recollect what was going on, and then asking the Lord, okay, where do I go from here? Wrote the book, put it in the Library of Congress because I wanted it available for everyone to know that when you change your mind, you change your life. Like it doesn't start yesterday, it starts immediately. And then going around the world and teaching other people how to reinvent themselves. Like I was not the business plug when I started this in 2013. So just doing that, just understanding and assessing where you are and learning from the journey, and then building from the ground up, this time the way I wanted it.
Gotcha. We are all reinventing ourselves, and it's layers. So yours came out of grief. Somebody else want to chime in on that? This thing of reinventing.
I'm sorry that I have another call. Otherwise, I'm sorry that I'm going to miss everybody's story. But I started out as a software engineer, and we moved down to New Jersey, where I ended up staying home, raising my kids for a while. Took a bunch of classes, and I worked for a great guy part-time for about a year until he was killed in a motorcycle accident.
Oh.
And I'd only been doing digital marketing for a short time. I didn't feel like I knew enough at all. But his wife asked me to continue his legacy. And I never thought about owning my own business before that. But I saw this quote by Richard Branson that said, if you're given an opportunity, say yes, and then figure out how to do it later. And that's been, what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And I just, although I love software engineering, I would never have been able to meet and hear all the stories from you guys. So it's different. It's not what I had planned, but it's bringing me someplace that I couldn't be happier.
I love that. Thanks for joining us today, Linda, and be sure to leave your information with me. I know that you have to skip on to something else, but wow, we'll be in contact, and you're going to come back to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation, because I so love your insight on LinkedIn. So thanks for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Margot, I kind of have to go in a couple of minutes also.
Go ahead. Have your last say.
So I'll tell you, ladies, that I grew up in a rather abusive home, and my mother told me more than once that I, A, should never have been born, and B, that I would never amount to anything.
Wow.
And so when I was 18, I graduated from high school and went to a small 2-year college to become a veterinary technician. And I reinvented myself there because I was away from the house. I was away from the atmosphere, and I changed my name to Yvonne. So Yvonne is not my given name. It's my middle name, so I come by it honestly. But over the years, I've reinvented myself again and again in various places where I decided I didn't like being an employee, so I became an entrepreneur. I wrote a book. I decided that the book wasn't handled well by the publisher, so I became my own publisher and started helping other people publish and write books. Then I started the pet blogging community because I wanted to help the pet bloggers learn how to work with brands and make money off of the hard work they were doing. But you never forget that first reason that you became someone different or someone new or someone, what I think is someone better, because I left that little girl behind and I wanted to become this woman that I was. And it took my family 4 years before they would acknowledge that I had a right to do that. And so today, I encourage people to reinvent themselves all the time. I think reinvention is just a pathway to recognizing who you are and what you were put here to do. And it doesn't matter which road. So people say, and you come to a fork in the road, which way do you go? I say it doesn't matter because they're both going to take you where you need to be.
Wow. See, this is what podcasting does. It allows one to be transparent so that they can help others. Yvonne, thank you. A million thanks for being here. You are always quite an inspiration. And yes, people, you're going to be on the show, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation in November, because I do want people to understand now is the time to write your book. You and your husband have just put out 2 new books. So thank you for joining us today. I so appreciate it. And you too, stay safe, all right? Okay, I think she's gone. Anybody else want to chime in and tell their story of reinvention?
I do.
Go ahead, jump in there.
I was just like, where do I start? Because it's like reinvention has been synonymous with evolution. The difference between growing and evolving. And I think the most poignant was when my son, my only son, was now ready to go to college. And I took him to Howard University, HU, I took him to Howard
Chadwick
University.
Boseman's
Yes, Chadwick,
alma.
Felicia Rashad,
Yeah.
yes. So my son is a
Kayla Clark.
very proud Howard grad. But when I took him from high school and I drove him to Howard and I came back home, I was an empty nester. And I had been his mother for so long that I did not realize how much of who I was defined by being his mother, and how much of myself hid behind being his mother. And so it was quite startling to really get to know myself all over again without my son. And I remember I was working at that time as a bookkeeper for someone else, conventional employment. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, the reasons that I was here no longer apply, because the only reason I was doing this was because I needed to provide a living for me and my son. But now my son is not here, so why are you here? And I never liked being there, but you make the sacrifices that you make for your children. And so it hit me in the face. Why are you still here? And that was the fast descent down into, I can't stand being here. I hate it. You get that awakening. Yes. All of a sudden, you just go from doing it to, oh, I hate it. And I could no longer put one foot in front of the other. And so, but yet I didn't know how to leave, because I chased money. That's how I met Linda. I was really chasing the money because I had made so many decisions based on survival, based on the money, but never for what I really wanted. I didn't believe I was enough to do it on my own, that I needed to work for somebody. I had more confidence in working for them than working for myself. And so I kept praying, Lord, get me out, get me out, get me out. Please get me out, but don't let it be messy. You know how we try to tell God how to do it. Please get me out as easy as possible. Like, give me another situation that makes just as much money. Yes. Then I can transition out and it'll be easy. Well, God don't never listen. When I get to heaven, I'm going to ask him about that, because he don't never listen. And so he got me out, and it was messy, and it was ugly, and it was awful. And it was one of those situations where a family member who was like my brother, the only brother that I had ever had, the only brother figure, he was actually my cousin, but he was the only brother figure I ever had, died suddenly. In the midst of me hating my job, wanting to get out, he died suddenly. And the way I found out about it was somebody called me on his cell phone. Oh. And I'm thinking it's him. And it's somebody crying on the other end telling me he was dead. Yeah. That's the way I found out. So needless to say, it put me in a tailspin where everything that I was barely holding on to, I could not even barely hold on to anything anymore. And it brought everything into question. It brought my life into question. And the main question, I grieved him, but you know what I grieved most? I grieved most me, because I had never lived my life on my terms. Wow. So I was grieving him, but I was grieving me at the very same time, because the question came to me, if you were, because we were the same age, if you were to drop dead right this minute, just like he did, what's the difference? You're the same age. If you were to die right now, would you have any regrets? And that was a sobering, gobsmack question, because through tears, I was like, yes, I would regret it, because I feel like I have not lived my own life. I didn't have the courage to be me. I didn't have the courage. And so my reinvention has been many iterations of giving myself permission to be me.
I think that, you know what, Suzette, there are a lot of people in that predicament right now. They have to give themselves permission COVID has brought a lot of opportunity to mourn the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one. And we've had to really take a look at ourselves. So I appreciate you being that transparent. It takes a lot of guts to go ahead and show up the way you have today, and this thing of reinventing yourself out of death, out of not knowing who you are. How many of us really do know who we are? How many of us really operate on our terms? I'm looking at the clock, and I do want to hold. I don't want to hold everyone much longer. Anybody want to put a, as they say, put a bow on this, and let's come to a conclusion? One more person.
I want to say that you all's stories are so inspiring, just like I said before. I do want to say that I am currently working a full-time job still, as a mental health therapist, right? So I've been doing that for over 30 years. As empowering as that is, I wasn't being empowered. You know, I helped so many people for 35, 36 years, but I'm burnt out. And when I had that stroke because of the job, literally, that's when I realized I needed to reinvent myself. And that's when I started questioning, okay, what did I do wrong? Why did my business fail 3 times? But I took all that from those years that I failed, gathered it all in one place. And now here I am, still working full-time job, but I'm transitioning myself out, right? And Pamela mentioned that I'm a content manager. It's so interesting with she and myself, because I was with her as she was transitioning through these three different businesses. And that was an honor to me, because I felt like we grew together. And I think I met her right at the time that we started this virtual COVID thing, or right before. And I've seen both of us grow, you know, as entrepreneurs, and seeing her grow as a podcaster. So we work well together, and that, I think that's powerful in understanding where your life is and where your life is going to grow, and making those collaborations and things like that. So that's kind of my story, my reinvention story. And now today I can say that you all are a part of that too. So I think that's awesome.
Wow, what a story. A stroke at age 50. That is something. I mean, so many different stories. We're here all together, and each one of us have a different story. But then the common denominator is that something came up, and we understood it was time for us to reinvent ourselves. So I hope everybody's listening. They understand that in the fear, out of the fear, whatever state you're in, reinvention has to take place. It absolutely has to. Had these women not reinvented themselves, we wouldn't even know them today. We just wouldn't know them. So I think, Miss Deb, Information Diva, I think you had something.
Yeah, I did want to say, I want people to understand that reinvention continues. I look around the room, and I am the senior member here. Hey, okay. So, you know, I'm listening and connecting, you know, watch this, you know, it's not like topping, but just to let people know. So at age 36, I had a heart attack at my desk, talking about a job trying to kill you, okay? Wow. My son was 10 years old. So that's the first start of a reinvention that I have to have. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've always been selling, buying, trying to create something, and I went on. I created a successful conflict resolution business where I had 5 employees on 5 different locations. School-wise, we were doing very well. And then things hit, and the school district said, no more outside contractors. But wait, I insulated myself because I did it with the school so that I wouldn't have to deal with this bureaucracy. Mm-hmm. But you know, we all know no one client should be more than 25% of your business. And I always say, I don't care if they are the 2nd largest school district in the nation, because when they pull the plug, they pulled the plug. So time to reinvent again. So that's when the information diva came forward and said, no, you got to figure out how to make some money doing this, because you're great at conflict resolution, but now I'm getting too old to be chasing bad children, so I don't want to be bothered with it. It has to be another way. But I want to say to you, you will constantly be reinventing yourself. Life will take you there. Just know that it is another opportunity to grow. And as we talk about what the aging process looks like, I remember very clearly on my 60th birthday going, first of all, how the hell did I get to be 60? Because that's old. That was number one. And I really realized that, you know how you say, I don't care what people think? I really don't care what people think. And I will be celebrating my 70th birthday next year.
Yay.
So I can't wait to find out what that brings. Because if y'all think I don't care now, oh my goodness, okay? So, you know, I just want to say particularly, and I want to say to the gentleman who sat here while we talked about ladies all the time, so glad to have you, my brother. So glad you're here. But I want everybody to know reinvention is part of
It's so good to be
journey.
here.
Good. Oh, thank you. Reinvention is part of the journey that we call life. And when you get to a spot, look at it as an opportunity. Stop cursing COVID. I honestly believe from my core that God slowed down the world so we could catch up. Be doing only that which benefits you and humankind, okay? If it don't work for you now, it's a good time to cut it. You can decide to cut it and people just blame it on COVID. Yeah, because of COVID, I had to get rid of you. A lot of people who you kept out of your house, I know they ain't gonna get to come back in. There's just so many things that are changing. So just kind of wrap yourselves around that to our listening audience. Whatever it was you thought you wanted to do, get with one of us and we'll sit and chat with you. I'm speaking for the ladies, but we'll sit and chat with you and tell you you can do it. Whatever it is, we believe in you, okay? Family and friends love you, but they know who they thought you were. And so they will always color it with that lens. We don't know you, so if you tell me you can sing opera, I'm like, baby, take some lessons. I always use that as an example because I can't sing a lick. But for those of you who don't know, if I said, well, hey, you know what? I really want to be a singer. You guys would be, okay, Deb, go ahead and take some lessons. And my family would be like, what? You know you can't carry it too. But just do you, whatever you is. India, and I'm gonna end it here. India Ari has a wonderful song. It's old, but listen to it. It's called Just Do You. You do that, you are automatically a success. No matter what, however you define failure in the past, you are successful if you do you.
Goodness. I think, you know, I see where we just had a gentleman just come in, and I really have to look at the time element for these ladies. We have been here, we started at 9 o'clock, and when it comes to podcasting and, you know, being podcasters, being guests on podcasters and entrepreneurship, we could go on and on and on. Today is International Podcast Day, and we are celebrating podcasting the way we do. We're just talking about it. And the way we are doing it today, we are age 40 and above. And we're letting everyone know that reinvention is not a dirty word, that everybody doesn't have to be a podcaster to be in the podcast industry and make a doggone good living. But podcasting is a lot of fun. As you can see, we are all here today because of a podcast, because of an opportunity. Opportunities come out of podcasting, and we are to celebrate that also. Let's celebrate each other. I salute the guests here on Zoom. I salute the folks over here on Facebook. Thank you. I salute the world for joining in with those of us who at age 61, at age 10, whatever age we are, we decided that we were going to invest and become podcasters so that we could serve you and give you good content. And Lisa Hurt, give everybody good content each and every time you tune into our shows. So anybody have I know we had parting words. Anybody have something coming up? Any of my guests have something coming up that we need to know about, something coming up this week. And then we are definitely going to sign off.
Margot, can I jump in real quick?
Yes, indeed. Real quick though, because I have to honor you all's time.
So real quick, with me, I want to talk about reinvention. It's all about growth, and growth is so important. So don't be scared, jump, and you'll be okay. And lastly, leaving here, be on the lookout because I have released a magazine that Aleasia will be with me. And my magazine is named Vision Made Magazine. And it's all about us going after a vision, circling around vision boards. So be on the lookout. The celebration issue will be released in November of this year.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I'm talking about. Not letting COVID stop you and not letting age stop you, going on and taking on this opportunity. All right, Pamela Stone, we are definitely going to be on the lookout. And listen, I think Information Diva, you're going to close us out with something that you have going on.
Okay, well, you said this week, so not this week.
Oh, sorry. Well,
I'm gonna take the opportunity.
Take the opportunity.
The Leverage Conference for speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs. I have some space for some speakers and some authors. You know, if it fits in your category, if that's your wheelhouse, let's get in touch. Let's talk about it. But more importantly, I just want to encourage everybody to do what you need to do. And if I can be of help any way, please reach out to me. Remember, I am a connector. I connect folks. Okay. So I'm wishing everybody the best. And Margot, on behalf of the group, because you are trying to wind down, thank you so very much for this opportunity. This has been a wonderful experience. And I look forward to us doing more things like this, you guys. Collaboration is the way we're going to win this game.
I so agree. I so agree.
Well,
And everyone...
Margot, can I do a quickie? Because mine is tomorrow.
Yes, Suzette,
mine is tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm hosting a webinar titled "How to Break the Cycle of Failed Relationships and Attract Healthy Love into Your Life." It's at 12 noon Eastern, and it will be a Zoom webinar. So if anybody is interested in that, I will be hosting that tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's all I want to say.
I tell you what, tag me on that and I'll make sure that I send it on out and get it out to everybody. And it's important that everybody's, once again, they understand we have grandchildren. We're not sitting home just patting our grandkids on the heads. We are women that are about doing what we're doing, and men also, because it's obvious we have some gentlemen here too. The principles for, we may, as Deb would say, we are women and we do business differently, but the bottom line principles of marketing and content and what it takes to actually do a business, it's universal, male and female, I would venture to say. So thank you, gents, for hanging out with us. Thank you, world, for letting us once again celebrate with everyone. And wow, this is my first extensive Facebook Live. I feel the need to come back later and just start telling people, giving people information about podcasts. So you'll see me pop up here on doing Facebook Lives throughout the rest of the day. I am celebrating to the max because I want to shift the attention to how a person can benefit from a podcast and actually getting into Podcast Academy online. I want to take away the fear of doing that. I want to take people on a little bit of a tour so that you know what that's all about, because we have to commit, take action now. All right, that's all I'm going to say. You'll see me back here later. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gents. This has been so much fun. And let me see, do I know how to end this? Let me make sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. I have never signed out from one of these. Oh my.
It should say at the bottom, leave, perhaps.
Okay, I am on another page and I don't see that.
Should be at the bottom, maybe.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
If you scroll down,
right now, bottom right corner, hopefully it's there. And when you shut down Zoom, that'll shut it all down because it's feeding Facebook.
Let me get back over here to Zoom. I think that's where I came all the way out of Zoom.
Yeah.
No, we're still in Zoom, sweetie.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm back where I'm supposed to be. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. We had a lot of folks in the house. Thank you, everybody. Hi, Michael Isaacs. Thanks for hanging out
Hi,
with
how are you?
us.
Pleasure.
Oh, pleasure. All right. I will see everybody later. Oh,
Bye,
my
kids.
goodness.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye
Bye.
now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.